This is a piston trumpet, the trumpet we usually use in the United States. For much of the literature, we play a rotary trumpet, which would be a sidewinder, as some people call it, and the valves look like French horn valves, and we play those instruments on Beethoven, Brahms, Bruckner, up to maybe Dvorak. Any of the music that was written for that in that time period was written for an instrument of such as that. And the sound is slightly different than a piston trumpet, the piston trumpet being more pointed and direct, and the rotary trumpet, the sound would be a little bit sideways, a little bit, which blends with the horns and the woodwinds, and that's what you want with much of that repertoire. For a while I was accumulating old rare trumpets, and then I realized I had all these great instruments in my basement, so as students need them, I've been loaning them trumpets, asking them to pay or give the trumpet back when they win their audition. For instance, Tom Siders, our Associate Principal Trumpet, I loaned him my trumpet, and then he won the BSO audition, and then he talked me into buying it from me. So, and then Ben Wright has another trumpet that I like a lot, and we have a gentleman's agreement that if he ever, I have first right of refusal if he ever wants to sell it. I played 3 out of the 4 chairs in the Boston Symphony Orchestra. I should say that when I was a student, my goal was to play second trumpet in a great orchestra like Boston. And second trumpet is the one position that I have not played in the Boston Symphony Orchestra. So maybe that's a lesson about life goals. Sometimes you're not in control. I started at 4th trumpet, which by the way was the happiest day of my professional life. And Seiji Ozawa hired me, and that was a thrilling day for me. The other positions was more, I played 4th, and then the associate principal player at that time, Tim Morrison, decided to go to Los Angeles and continue his movie career. And there was a chair that opened up, and I never really planned to play that chair, but then I was forced to play. Seiji said, "Oh, you played that chair. Tom, play chair." And I played the chair, and then it went okay, and then I took the audition. And then the same thing happened when Charlie retired. I ended up playing the chair, not really thinking I could play the chair, but I played it and it went okay, and then I decided to audition, and I won that audition. So there are 3 very different roles in the orchestra. And I actually think it's kind of, I feel very fortunate that I was able to play the different chairs. We do get along in our section. We have a really great, actually we get along there's a lot of nice people here, so we do get along. The egos, everyone seems to play their role, and while everyone has a strong ego, it seems like we genuinely like each other. How about that? I think there's a lot of brass and woodwind players that do come from the Midwest because of the great band tradition there. Personally, I never really played in orchestras growing up. I played in bands. And one of my very first orchestras was a student at Tanglewood, which, by the way, changed my life. When Gunther Schuller brought me to Tanglewood, and I played in an orchestra. My very first concert was playing with the TMC, Tanglewood Music Center Orchestra, which at that time was called the Berkshire Music Center Orchestra, I think. And the first concert was Seiji Ozawa conducting. So how about that as an introduction to the orchestra life? I've learned to be more of myself as a musician, and to take more chances, and to try to enjoy the excitement and the nervous energy of a performance. When I was younger, when I was on 4th trumpet, I would try to fight that feeling off, and now I look forward to that feeling of nervous excitement. The highlights of my career are the personalities. We've been lucky in that the bosses we've had here have been wonderful people. Seiji, John Williams, Jimmy, Keith, just really nice people. I have had good relationships with all of them. They were all people you could talk to. Some conductors kind of stay a little aloof, but they're all people you could have a conversation with. So those are my highlights, the people I played with. I mentioned Vic Firth earlier. I learned so much from Vic Firth, or listening to some of the older players who are now gone, like Al Genovese, our great oboist of many many years. I learned so much just listening to him. Those are the highlights and the memories that I bring away from the Boston Symphony Orchestra. The first time I played in Symphony Hall was my audition for fourth trumpet. And I remember obviously being nervous, as everyone is nervous when they're taking an audition. It's kind of an odd circumstance for any of us. It's not a normal performance. And I sat down and I played my first note, which I believe was from a Leonora call, B flat. And I remember being just floored by how good I sounded in the hall. The hall, actually, I thought, I was so surprised at how wonderful the hall sounded, and that gave me confidence. And I kind of lost my nervousness after that. I just was so thrilled that I sounded so good in this hall.